And good evening and
Hey.
welcome to the Geek Show.
Welcome.
Welcome everybody from planet Earth. Tonight we have an awesome crew as always. We have from let's go down the bottom first. First of all, we have from sunny Worcester, the one and only. It's Andy. How are you, sir?
I am very good. Thank you very much. Are you all right?
I am very, very good. Also in Worcester.
Also in Worcester.
Worcester. And then the man who knows comics more than anybody else in the whole world.
Oh no.
Just trying to put him on the spot. It's only Shane from Ice Comic Con, everybody. Hey!
Hey, hello everybody.
How are you, Shane?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm bursting with knowledge. Yes.
You're bursting with comic knowledge. So again, welcome everybody to the show. Please post up who you are and where you're connecting from, and any questions to our Astound panel tonight. We have lots and lots of fun things going on. So first of all, Andy, how's it been going this week in the shop?
Oh, what a week we've had. The past 7 days. Oh my God, it's all been kicking off. Yeah, it's been mental. Obviously, we're open again since I think. Well, we had the first day back last Wednesday before the show, but yes, as probably many of the viewers know, Games Workshop have been playing Silly Buggers the last week. So yeah, it's been an interesting week.
Silly Buggers, as in.
Oh, where to begin? Obviously, the bigger. I imagine most people know this. We've been talking about it in the shop, but obviously, Curse City was their big release the other week. We're big into Curse City last week. We were showing off the box. Everyone was getting very excited. And obviously, it was a big release, so they sold out immediately. Even before it came out, they were sold out. It was that popular, but not a problem because they were going to have it on general release straight afterwards.
And normally that's good for a company, isn't it? If you sell out all your pre-orders. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So obviously it's popular and everyone's going to want one.
Before you say you carry on, Shane, what do you reckon happened next?
Well, I'm imagining that there was a supply issue of some sort.
That's kind of half correct.
Yeah.
If that was all, then yeah, that would be wonderful. Obviously, I'm not sure how much of this is libelous. We'll see how I get on. If I'm not here next week, and just look out for me in the papers. So obviously they met partial demand because they had X amount and everyone got short shipped, but that's fine because as they kept assuring everyone, this will be a regular release, so everyone can get a copy. It might just be a couple of weeks away. And then on Wednesday, it was leaked on Twitter that they weren't doing it as a general release; it was a limited release. And then on Friday, it was confirmed that yes, it is actually going to be a very limited release. So if you didn't get one, you're not going to. So all of those customers that were going, oh, that's great, it's fine, it's not a problem. All those people we were talking to saying, don't worry, if you didn't get it now, you can have it in a couple of weeks' time. No, you're not. You're going to get shafted.
Unbelievable.
We've not had an actual official reason, as far as I know. Word on the grapevine that I've heard, allegedly, according to my lawyers,
and the cat,
and the legal team I have behind me have suggested that potentially there is an issue with import fees or some kind of fees being additional to what they were expecting, and the let's say the monetary value of them wasn't conducive to continuing with the line.
God, blimey.
So apparently they said they were losing money on each box, or they weren't making enough profit on each box to carry on with it, essentially. And yeah, these things happen. It's an unfortunate thing. I think what would make more sense in the long run to keep the customers sweet, and you know, they keep boasting about these massive profits they're making every couple of minutes. Why they didn't just go, you know what, we'll do a one-shot order, so you can order it through your local retailer, or you can order it from your local GW or online, and we'll do one hit of it, and that'll be it.
Yeah, get your order in now.
Yeah, get your order in. Everyone gets one, and yeah, as they say, it's going for £300 upwards on eBay now. It's ridiculous.
300 quid.
They've you know, as I said, they keep boasting about how much money they're making. Why can't they just? Oh my God, it's Ricky. Hi, Ricky. Mr. Crystal. Sorry, it's a friend of mine I haven't seen in years, and he just
Hey,
so hi.
It's because Shane's on, you see. Everybody comes on with Shane's on.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to talk to me. He's just like, oh my God, it's Shane. But yeah, it would make more sense if they just turned around and went, here, we can afford, even if they're losing money on every box, they can afford to lose money on every box, as they keep telling us. So why they can't just do a limited run and go, okay, here you go, everyone can have a copy.
Well, you think...
Take the hit.
Yeah, you think because they've made it, all the money's in the manufacturing and the design and creating all the, all the plastic and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that you think, if we can get another, I don't know, 10,000 people buy it, we'll be back in profit. So
yeah, and I'm pretty sure they probably could, because it has been one of the biggest releases they've had. So yeah, it's a very bizarre situation for them to be in. It's not unusual for them to short ship on the initial runs, because getting product ready in time is a problem, especially in this climate at the moment with COVID and stuff, getting enough people together to actually get this stuff. But yeah, it was just the fact that they've been lying to us about it. They've been saying, yeah, we're going to do this. Okay, things change. So they might not have known that this was going to be an issue, but there are much better ways of handling it than just outright saying, no, that's it, you're not getting it. And I'd like to say that was it, but last week was also a complete shit show because they didn't send us any products on time. So yay, we didn't get any releases.
God, blimey.
Yeah, that was.
But on the bright side, Shane, do you have any news that you could share with us, or are you going to share that at some other point?
Oh, that news we were talking about before we went online.
Cheer up, Shane. Come on, Shane. Good news.
I can't share the specific news.
No,
all I can say is I have had some very good news.
Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in.
Oh, no, please.
Is this the pitter patter we're going to be hearing?
No, nothing like that.
No. I thought maybe you were getting a dog. Oh,
it's even better news than that.
It's good news, and it's relating to an event that I do in my local town. But I can't say what the news is because I need to.
But can
it's
you say
brand new. I heard today about this news.
But can you say what the event is? In what events do you run?
Well, I run Comic Salopia in Shrewsbury, which is a big festival across the town, and I run ICE convention, which is a comic convention primarily in Birmingham,
which is my favourite Comic-Con, by the way.
Hey, thank you. And this good news is in relation to the work I do in Shrewsbury. I do a lot of, me and my business partner Sarah, we do a lot of work in the community, shall we say, around the arts and around the town itself, promoting the town as a centre of creativity and innovation. And one of the projects that we're working on has had some very good news. That's all I can say, really.
Wow.
But watch this space.
Watch this space. We'll get you back on when you can do an official event.
Yeah, definitely.
So I've also had an amazing week. So I went down to Worcester War Games. I had my awesome friend Andy gave me Mothra. What are they?
What do you mean? What are they? Wow, it's good to know that I'm dealing with a professional here. What are they? They're card sleeves.
They're card sleeves.
Your cards in them.
These are amazing. So I for one don't have cards, but I'm actually going to print some V2A cards. And if
do you not have a set of top trumps you could put in them?
We do. Oh, we do.
Oh,
by the way, Shane, did you know we've got our own Doomsday top trumps?
How cool is that? Oh my gosh!
So what it is, there's 32 characters from the first book. How cool is this?
That is cool as hell.
I'll just show you mine. And then immortalized in top trumps. And then for the people who have gone for the certain tier on Kickstarter and got their own persona and picture in book 2. You're going to be, as well as in book 2, you're going to be on the official wiki page in your character. And also, you're in the next edition of the top trumps. So you can be getting your top trumps out and you go, fancy a game with my card. And it'll be like, classic. Unbelievable. This is how we roll. So thank you very much for that, Andy. And one other massive thank you. You know, Shane, sometimes when you're playing a board game and you're thinking, have I got any dice? Have I got any dice? Never guess what I bought from Worcester War Games. It is Beetlejuice dice, which you can't see because I've got my green screen on. But they're amazing. Seriously.
I thought you were doing some sort of trick there. It was the green screen. It's like, whoa.
Whoa. But because they're all green, I didn't really think that through with the green screen on. But they're a Beetlejuice dice. Awesome, Andy. So how are the dice going, by the way? Are these the...
They're not a number one seller. I will say that much without belittling them at all. They're really cool though. The fact that we've been after them for ages. So there's some really cool dice. You got Beetlejuice, and you got Nightmare Before Christmas, and Friday the 13th, The Shining, Scooby Doo, Paw Patrol to a lesser extent.
Awesome, awesome. But many thanks for that. That is amazing. So a quick one back over to Shane. So what we're going to do every week we have it's me and Andy on, and then we have different guests just to bring all your geek, your selection of geek to you. So well, first of all, another quick one. Thank you, Frandy. I got this. The Aliens Assets and Hazards. Shane, have you ever played the Aliens board game?
No, I've heard
Holy
good things.
hell, mate. It's
I have heard good things. Yeah, I think you guys might have been talking about it last time I was on, actually.
I think
I don't think we've ever mentioned it, have we? I don't think we've ever mentioned the Aliens game, have we?
Every week for about 20 minutes every week. So a quick one over to you then, Shane. You being our established guest, our guest on high, everything you ever need to know about comics, guys, just ask, and Shane will answer, because he is the guru of he's the comic guru. What are you reading at the moment, Shane? What is good and out there?
Okay, I've got a selection of stuff here that is stuff I'm reading now, like new stuff, but stuff I'm also rereading, some classic stuff. So I'll a couple of recommendations of new stuff. I don't know if anyone knows this one. Ooh. Crossover, which is a really cool concept. It's basically lots and lots of characters from lots and lots of different universes involved in this story, and they sort of get away with it. They're not the actual characters, but they push the rights as far as they possibly can on this one.
Who's that? Is it like a DC or a Marvel, or is it an indie?
It's an image book. It's an image book.
Oh, an image.
Written by Donny Cates, and Donny obviously writes for Marvel predominantly at the moment. He's done a big run on Venom, which recently came to an end. And it is his style of writing. Definitely, you can tell it's a Donny Cates book, but it's something a little different. I highly recommend it. It's not not quite what you're expecting. Going backwards in time, I've been rereading, because of the TV series, Invincible. Now, I don't know if you guys have caught the animated series.
I've heard great things. I have heard.
Yeah.
I've not watched
it. It is
yet.
really. I'm feeling on episode 4 of it at the moment. It is really good. Really good.
So next thing, Shane, you're going to be telling us it's based on a comic.
Funnily enough, yeah. It's a very faithful adaptation. I mean, the way the pacing of some of the stories and the reveals are sometimes not the same, but the feel of it, the humor, the visual style. The animation models, they've really taken a lot from Corey Walker's original designs and Ryan Otley's work later on in the book, and it really does feel like Invincible the comic. The characterizations, the interactions with the characters, the gore, because it's a superhero book with lots of blood.
When did it come out?
Originally, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to look at this. The original book, we're talking years and years and years and years ago. I'm gonna guess. I'm going to have a look in the book now to get the right answer, but I'm going to guess it's probably early 2000s.
Oh, wow.
When did this come out? I've got the first trade here.
So, Andy, are you enjoying the TV show? I haven't watched it yet.
One of our customers put me onto it. Said, watch it. He said, give it the first episode's kind of it sets everything up, but stick with it because the last few minutes of the first episode will blow you out your seat, and that's it. You'll be hooked. And they were spot on. They were absolutely right with that. The last bit of the first episode was like, that came out of left field. Not knowing Invincible, it came completely out of left field, and it's got me completely hooked. Isn't it written by one of the guys who did The Walking Dead as well?
It's Robert Kirkman. Robert Kirkman is the writer.
Yeah.
And linking in to Robert Kirkman, actually, another book that I'm reading at the moment, which is really cool, is another Robert Kirkman book, actually.
Oh,
Firepower. Now, I was pulled onto that not because it's a Robert Kirkman book, because of Chris Samney's artwork. Yes. Chris Samney is an amazing artist. Wow. He really is. He's one of those artists, a bit like Darwin Cook, who every line is there for a reason. There's no superfluous detail. It's great storytelling, great stylization, and it's a pleasure to read it. It really is. It's on about issue 9 or 10 now. But I've just got issue 1 here just so people know where to start. I'm not sure how much it costs these days, issue 1, because it's a bit of a hot book, I think. And I think issue 1 is going for, but there's, various printings. I think you can still read issue 1 at a reasonable price, but I highly recommend it. It's a very simple sort of hero story about a guy who's got a family, who has a past. But his past, instead of being a gangster or something else like that, he has a past where he's able to fire fireballs out of his hands.
That's useful on a cold day, isn't it? When you're at the bus stop and you're going,
Ooh, I'll do a quick fireball.
Oh, bloody hell, me gloves. Need to take them off. Take them off.
The bus. Sorry,
the bus. No, sorry, the bus. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great book. It really is.
So, a quick question. Before we get to Andy, a quick question then, Shane. Where'd you get your comics from? You being the authority, Mr. Guru on comics.
Well, I go to my local store. So, it's not a shop. They're Infinity and Beyond. They're an online comic shop. They also sell statues and figures and all that sort of stuff.
Awesome!
But I have a standing order with those guys.
Are they based in Shrewsbury?
Based in Shrewsbury. And good friends of Charlie Adlard as well, like me. So. Always have a great stock of Walking Dead signed books because Charlie's always there to sign them, which is really handy. And yeah, it's a great. I mean, they've got a little unit. You can go in, you can buy appointment, and pick up your books in person. I do because they're friends. I'm a local.
Yeah.
But they have a great online service. They have a great subscription service. Very reliable.
We'll have to get them on one of the weeks with you. With you and Andy, we could bring them on and let them show us their wares.
Well, they've got an anniversary coming up. They've been in business this year.
Awesome.
Come June, 30 years.
Oh my god!
It's impressive for a comic shop, to survive for 30 years.
That is amazing.
I was there at the start when I had hair.
When you. I thought you said it was only 30 years.
Yeah. I did have hair then.
Oh dear. So I must admit, I went to Shrewsbury once, where I went to your event. Actually, that's the only time I've ever been to Shrewsbury.
Oh really?
Met the amazing John Magna in a tent, and it was amazing fun.
Oh, John, lovely guy.
I love John Magna. John Magna is the boss.
He is indeed.
Mega City One judges. He is our gaffer.
And he is a local. He only lives up the road, so that's really handy for us.
Amazing guy. We got him. We got him a picture. I don't know if I've told you this before, but he signed a picture for my friends are in the tactical firearms police, and so he signed a picture, to all the guys, because everybody who grows up to be a tactical police officer was a Judge Dredd fan as a kid.
That's a bit. I don't know if that's a good thing.
I'm not sure if that's a good thing.
These tactical officers are all, tyrannical fascists. Then that's a bit worrying.
So he signed a photo for them, a poster, and then what they did is they sent a picture back of them all in their gear, proper gear, holding the poster back to him, just for him. It was awesome. So
brilliant,
awesome guy, amazing stuff. So Andy, back over to you then, sir. So what else is going on in the shop? What is cool this week, if it ever arrives?
Yeah, like I say, when we finally get stuff, a lot of it's cool, but do we ever see it? Who knows? So this week we have finally got in our stock from last week. So we do have the Blood Bowl releases. We've got the Blood Bowl 7's pitches, the new Zet's own book. We've got the new Titanicus stuff, which is loads of different things, a few books and new models and stuff. This week we've got the new release of an old friend of ours, Be'lakor, one of the demon prints for Warhammer. He's getting a new sculpt, which is very much like the old sculpt, but much cooler and much bigger. We've got him. I think he's retailing at about £89-90 mark, but he's a beast of a model. He's getting his own book as well with special rules and lore for him. There's some more Broken Realm stuff. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say it. We've also got the new Strixhaven release for Magic the Gathering. So any nerds that are watching that enjoy a bit of Magic, we've got the new stuff coming in tomorrow. So that's out on Friday, the new Strixhaven releases. I think Tracy has spent an inordinate amount of money on that. So please come in and buy it.
And here is Tracy. And here is Tracy now.
Magic.
Yes. In fact, Magic cards go in these, don't they?
They do, but it seems a waste of good sleeves to put Magic cards in them.
It does, yeah. So Shane, just to bring you on board with this, because this is all a bit random. But I'm a big Godzilla fan, but my favorite monster is Mothra. Because
Mothra's awesome.
Mothra is, especially us Brummies, us geeky blinders, as we like to. We should do a geeky blinder t-shirt. I just saw that. Look at that.
There you go. Look at that.
Geeky blinders. Amazing. So I'm just gonna quickly show off to Shane and also Andy. So I managed to buy a collection of old Marvel comics, only a few, but there's a certain run I was after. Okay. I think they were before Transformers. Do you remember Shogun Warriors?
Shogun Warriors, I've got
Shogun
those.
Warriors. Yeah. Shogun
Great
Warriors.
Series. Are we talking about 1979?
I have absolutely no idea. I remember having some as a kid, and then I just wanted to go back and try and actually. I thought, the story's really good, and I managed to get numbers 1 to 20 for a very reasonable price.
Brilliant! What a series! What a great series that was!
What a great series! So, did you ever read it, Andy?
I remember seeing it. I don't think I've ever read it, but I do remember seeing it on shelves as a child. I probably am the only one of the three of us that was actually around when they came out. Sadly.
I was there.
Oh, thank God, somebody else is old like me.
You're right. Yeah, I'm old. I'm old too.
So just to wow you even more, so there was for these things a giant. They did a giant plastic toy.
Mm-hmm.
I've never saw them live, but I've only seen them on pictures. And what's actually happened? How bizarre is this, right? So I bought that, and they came today, being a Shogun Warriors fan, and look what Mattel's bringing out tomorrow. They've got the toy, and they've done a He-Man, a Skeletor version of the toy. Of the Shogun Warriors toy.
That is crazy. What a matchup.
What a matchup. So those were the toys. That's the comic that all came today. I just clicked on it and was like, oh, bloody hell. And it's coming out tomorrow. And guess what is my other second favorite thing? I've only got giant Skeletor stuff.
Hey.
Hold on. Skeletor, Shogun Warriors.
That is weird. That is so...
How bizarre is life?
Yeah. It's fate, man.
It's fate. I think I'm going to have to buy one of these things until I realise it's going to be about 500 quid, and then I'll go off the idea really, really quickly. But
I think they should sponsor the show and give you one for free.
I think
so too. I think that's a damn good idea.
Maybe I'm the new Derek Akora in my spirit guide called Fluffy, who is a native Indian called Skeletor. Yeah, it was like, these all come today, Kev. And by the way, you really like Skeletor? Bloody hell, Mattel in 1 day and 2 hours time are releasing this. Seriously, you can't make this stuff up. Look at it. There's even like a countdown with the time. It is seriously, I kid you not. This is
who thought that up, man? I mean, that is such an unusual idea.
One day, 20 hours and 34 minutes. What are the chances? It's incredible. A bloke with a beard. A bloke with a beard did it.
Oh, right. So, he thought it up. Right. I think his beard's growing the wrong way, isn't it?
A man with a beard. So
fantastic.
So there you go. So if you ever wanted to buy a Shogun Warriors toy from the 70s or 80s, but that looks like Skeletor for about 500 quid, the price of a small car.
Yeah, but you can't have that much fun in a small car. Compared to that, come on.
No, that's true. That is pretty cool. That would look great in the studio, you see. So, when we get all our, rock legends and friends over, and they're in the studio, and they're like, "Is that a giant skeleton?"
Yeah, is that a Skeletor or is it a Shogun Warrior?
It's like, yeah,
both.
Yeah, and it looks really cheaply made. You go, that's bloody 500 quid. That is.
Yeah,
You know,
it does look very cheap, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does. It looks like it's made out of like sort of like washing up liquid bottles and stuff, like the old Blue Peter stuff. So that was my day today. So that was very good. So back over to you then, Shane. So what else would you recommend to the guys out there, apart from the V2A graphic novel, which is coming out soon, which has got its own top trumps? Woo! I'll send you some top trumps. By the way, it's at the printers at the Mo, Shane. So when it does come, I will send you a copy.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you very much.
Because you are the guru of comics.
Well, I'll look forward to reading it, and I'm sure I'll review it in some way on my Facebook page in return.
Oh, by the way, who do you have? So you've got your own show.
Indeed,
who is on this week?
Now let me think. I think we're having a week off on the live show this week, if I remember correctly. But okay. on the audio show, which is out,
I just dropped those. Sorry,
which is out on the weekend. We have Kelly Jones, the Batman artist.
Oh wow!
Who I had a great chat with about his career, about his work on Batman, on Deadman. It's just, what a lovely guy and what a legendary artist. You know, such a singular, unique style of drawing that most people will remember probably from the Nightfall series. He did a lot of the covers then. He also did the Batman Dracula series of books, which was fantastic. And he was perfectly suited to that book. So we're going to be I'm talking to him for about an hour. And that's going to be available this weekend on the Icecast podcast. So that's one to look out for.
So who's the most wildest one? Because you've had quite a lot come to the Ice Comic Con. Who would you say is the most wild? And most of these comic book artists,
the most wild guest.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. It's got to be.
Is it Andy?
It's Andy. Yeah,
it is Andy.
Let's face it. It's always going to be Simon Bisley, isn't it? You know.
He's a wild man.
He's a wild man. You know, although not as wild these days. You know. But I've witnessed some wild things around Mr. Biz.
We did a gig at a Comic Con in Wales, and he was there. So we're all players. So V2A is playing. We got everything going. Then there's this giant yeti of a man, which is the Bisley, Mr. Simon, down the front, head banging, going wild. And then I had about 500 texts off him saying, "Can I join your band to play bass?" So there you go, claim to fame. He is Andy. He is an awesome artist, and he's done a load of Batman stuff. And the guy is, but he's a wild man. He's wild when he's not drunk.
I mean, he's synonymous with the character Slane from 2000 AD.
Yeah,
he did some great stuff on that title. And you sort of there's a little bit of Slane in Simon, I think.
A little bit. It's like going out drinking with Conan the Barbarian with a fairy wig on. Yeah. He's like Conan the Barbarian mixed with a werewolf. He's an absolute star. So back to Andy. Ping pong back to Andy. So Andy, back in the shop. So did you manage to get any of your painting done or anything out of the boxes? Have you got anything to show us?
The only thing I've barely touched a brush a week. It's been so hectic with the shop. Obviously, because we were talking about last week having this week be a painting competition for doing a model, and we decided we're all going to paint a high elf or an elf player for Dungeon Bowl. So obviously, I imagine you've done yours, Drone. So that'll be ready to show us in a second, because we all agreed to do that, right?
I thought it was next week. I thought it was next week.
You know, on Saturday when you came in the shop and I talked to you and I was like, "Oh, you're going to be ready for Wednesday?" And you were like, "Yeah."
Oh yeah, it's this Wednesday. I thought it was next.
I'm starting to suspect you might not have done it.
I'm thinking I haven't done it.
I'm starting to suspect that. I'm getting an inkling.
I'm quite sure I haven't done it. Would you like? We could do this next week. Would you like to show us
next week? Well, I'll quickly pass mine, but I'm not going to show you too closely because otherwise you'll just copy it.
Could you quickly?
That's gone away now.
Could you quickly pass it by again, slower-ishly? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I could spare 20 minutes to paint that.
All right, I'll have one done by next Wednesday. And so also, Shane, we have a Facebook group called the Geek Show, which we'll have to invite you to. We have 200-300 odd people on there already. It's
Nice.
quite lively and vibrant. So please get on there.
Nothing less.
Share your stuff. Share your ice things as well, so people know what's going on, etc., etc.
I'll be glad to come into the group. Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Definitely. So, Shane, other comics. Is there anything else people should be looking out for apart from awesome Shogun Warriors? That's all I can say.
I was just looking at the comments actually, and when we were talking about wild guests, and Tony Broad left a comment about Ryan Brown. I did actually have quite a wild night with Ryan Brown and his wife and one of his friends and Lou Stringer. We got quite drunk one night. There is actually photographic evidence of the evening as well, which is probably quite unfortunate. But that was a good night. That was just involved copious amounts of, I think it was Guinness, actually.
Yeah. With Ryan Brown. So Andy Ryan is from Northern Ireland, and he is literally, his blood is Guinness. and he is uber talented. He did the cover for the V2A graphic novel, the one with the big horns. Amazing guy, does all like Marvel and DC covers and all the rest of it. But bloody hell, can he drink? My god! Do not go drinking with him. And also, what's his mate? The other guy from Ireland. Who did Preacher?
The late Steve Dillon.
No.
I was going to say, I didn't think he was from Ireland.
No, it's.
Oh, you mean the I'm trying to think. Garth.
No, you're Garth, but also.
I'm trying to think who else was involved.
Ricochet.
It'll
Ricochet, Paddy O'Reilly.
Are you?
Are you talking about Glenn?
Glenn Fabry, that's it. I can just remember some guy who could even drink more than Ryan Brown.
Yeah.
Glenn is
legendary in his drinking.
Unbelievable. Yes.
Yeah.
Great artist, though. Amazing
artist and a lovely man. Yeah. Really nice guy.
Awesome guy.
Yeah.
Is he better with the drink or worse with the drink? Is it mutually exclusive, or is it a thing that comes together? The more he drinks, the better they are.
I do remember the last time he came to an ice convention, which I think was in Birmingham. He, or it might have been the Brighton one, actually. But any time he comes to a convention, it always works better with a bottle of wine next to him. He does need a bottle of wine to keep going, and but that's fine. We're quite happy to supply him with a bottle so that he can keep working away.
Did you ever get like weird riders from some of these comic book artists where they say only green M&Ms?
They're not too bad comic artists. Some are more demanding than others. Usually it's the Americans that want specific things, and ask for things that we can't afford or we're not wanting to afford. But most of the time, most comic artists are pretty cool. They'll do all they can to facilitate the visit. They'll try and help you out. They'll do as much as they can to make sure that the fans have a good time and that we're not spending too much money on them. But there's some that are quite demanding and want. Some will say, can you bring my whole family over?
They're not just the ones I live with. The whole family.
The whole family.
And there are, it's a bit. Sometimes it's cheeky. Sometimes I don't mind because I know that that's probably the only time they're going to be coming to the UK. We have flown guests' families over before now, but I've usually found some sponsorship for it because it's a lot of money to fly 4 people over, from America for a show.
Definitely.
But sometimes it can happen. It depends on the guest and it depends on how nicely they ask.
And how drunk you are at the time, I suppose.
Yeah. Catch me when I've had a few beers and I'm you're lucky.
So anything else, Shane? Any other comics that we should look out?
There's always good stuff, mate. There's always good stuff. Linking in actually to Glenn, he actually does the covers on this series. American Gods, which people are probably familiar with.
Yeah.
Amazon Prime TV series, but was a book and was also a comic series, obviously by Neil Gaiman. Some great contribution from Pete Craig Russell and Scott Hampton, and obviously we've got Glenn doing the covers, and they
is that a Glenn?
That's a Glenn.
Wow.
That's a Glenn. They're all beautiful covers. They really are. And it's Neil Gaiman, so it's very wordy. Probably more wordy than it needs to be, really.
Yeah.
But it is great stories. You can't knock it. I've read it from the start, and I've really got into it. I've not watched the TV series yet. I don't know if anyone else out there has. Somebody has.
I've seen a couple of them, and they are very dramatic. You know, they're beautifully filmed. Yeah, really good.
Oh, that's interesting. I will watch it. I don't want to watch it while I'm reading the comics. I want to read, and the comics are still coming out, I think. So,
oh wow,
as long as the comics are coming out, they're from Dark Horse. As long as they're coming out, I will continue to read them because I like the story is really intriguing. It's what you expect from Neil Gaiman. There's a lot of myths. There's a lot of gods. There's a lot of legends. There's a lot of going into the history of these characters and where they come from, and it's drawn from all these old myths. But it's American myths, and it's how these European gods and creatures came to be based in America. It's quite interesting. And he's created this mythology in this story, and I always admire how Neil Gaiman does that. How he can create a whole world. His world building is quite staggering, actually.
Definitely. So, what we were talking about just before the show started. So, how do you feel with the lockdown, the COVID lockdown, that some of the comic companies are doing? Do you think it's pushing is sort of Marvel and DC still the big powerhouses of the latest things to read, or are you more swayed to the indie stuff now?
Well, personally, myself, I don't really read much Marvel and DC. There is one Marvel title that I did pick out that I am reading, which is really a hail back to an old one. Which I'm looking for it. Hey, welcome back.
Ignore me. It's fine.
Which is Maestro. Or Maestro, whichever you want to. I say Maestro because there's an A in it, and it's the Hulk in the future, and it's the story of how the Hulk becomes the Maestro. Because I don't know if any of you read the original past. What was it called? Future Imperfect, which is a 2-issue prestige that came out in the early 90s by Peter David about how the Hulk goes to the future to take on this evil maestro tyrannical character that's made slaves of everybody, and he finds out it's him in the future.
It's him with a beard.
Yeah, it's him with a beard, and it's him a lot meaner than he is now. And this is the origin story of how he becomes the Maestro or the Maestro. I think Maestro is better. Maestro sounds like someone who conducts music. So,
or some kitchen appliance.
Yeah, and it's still Peter David, and Dale Keown's in there as well with the art. So it's nice art. It's brilliantly written because everything that Peter David writes is brilliant. I don't care what anyone says. If you've never read anything by Peter David, go and pick up the Hulk run. Go and pick up Supergirl. Go and pick up Captain Marvel. Even his early Spider-Man stuff. Brilliant stuff. I cannot fault his writing at all. But this is great stuff. That's Marvel. So there are exceptions to the rule, but most of the Marvel content I find, I'm not going to say it's particularly bad. It's just not aimed at me. It's not aimed at a 40-plus-year-old. And why should it be? Surely Marvel Comics should be for kids, and it most definitely is. Most of it for kids.
I think it's a bit weirder now, though. For comics, because like when we were kids, there were comics, in newspaper shops and everywhere around. Whereas now they're sort of not around. So where are kids going to sort of find them? Does that make any sense? Because they've got computer games and all the rest of the stuff.
I mean, that's always been the issue since the 90s when the distribution started to disappear. And in all fairness, what Marvel have done by partnering with Penguin for their distribution is that they will now be able to put their comics into other venues other than comic shops.
Oh, like Waterstones.
Anywhere, all over the place. I mean, you think of Penguin Random House, their distribution ability. Their stuff is in airports. That's where people pick up airport novels. Their distribution is astronomical. So Marvel now have access to that distribution, and it's starting with Penguin are distributing the floppies to the comic shops. But I believe that Marvel's intention is to get the stuff out there, so we can't fault them for that. That is a very good deal for them, and I think they're following on from DC, because DC have started to put. Obviously, they got their deal with Walmart with their stuff, and that's obviously a great outlet for them. I'm really disappointed that we're not seeing those DC books in Asda or somewhere like that, because I'd love to see those books in supermarkets here, but that hasn't started. But I think we're gradually seeing the bigger companies starting to think we can't just have our comics in comic shops. That's not enough.
They need them in like Tesco's and stuff like that. So
they need them everywhere.
Shopping, definitely.
And they're starting to pick up on that now. It's starting to happen. So I'm very optimistic about the mainstream comic industry. Aside from the quality of the comics, that's another conversation. But the distribution, I think they're starting to do some good stuff. Yeah.
So a question to Andy. So on the board gaming front, how are the games companies enticing younger people into the sport?
Kickstarter, actually. Kickstarter seems to be the way most companies are kind of trying to get product out these days. They've kind of done away with we'll put it out in the marketplace and hopefully people will buy it. They are very much hedging their bets. We're going, we'll use Kickstarter to advertise our products, make sure we get funding and backing for it before we have to worry about going into production. And it's not just the small companies, all the big boys are doing it as well. Call Mini or Not keep doing it with their products, Steamforge with theirs. Steamforge, I think today, or maybe even yesterday, launched their Monster Hunter board game based on the very popular console game. And that seems to be where a lot of them are going these days. They're taking various different console games, Monster Hunter, Bloodborne, Resident Evil, all these kind of things. They just turn them into board games. A lot of them do seem to be just reskins. I know quite a few people were put off Monster Hunter. As much as they love the game and they want all the models and stuff that come with it, a lot of them are just going, it's just a reskin of their other board games that they've already done. And it is to a certain extent, because obviously there's only so much you can do with board games that has already been done before by everyone else. But they do seem to be using the whole thing of going, this is a popular console game, to kind of sell products just by putting a new skin over them.
I did see that. I think the Hellboy board game's coming out.
Yeah. Is it another Kickstarter again? I know Mantic did one a couple of years ago, which was very popular.
It's them again.
Oh, it's them again, is it? Okay, I know initially it had a few issues. That when it went to Kickstarter, they were advertising all these beautiful resin sculpts, and everyone was very excited. And I think when it came out as a general release, they were all in plastic, and the quality wasn't quite as good as everyone expected it to be, which was unfortunate. But the game itself apparently was very good. I was lucky enough to paint a turkey for someone as a commission piece for their board game, so that was something different. A turkey. There was a hell turkey, and I got to paint it.
I like that. Well,
yeah, I don't know about this new one, so hopefully it'll be as good as the original.
Yeah, I think I saw it yesterday, and it sort of said it was just coming out. They're either re-releasing it with some extra add-ons and stuff. So, is there any trying to bring you both together? Is there any good board games for like Marvel or DC fans out there?
Obviously, you've got Marvel Crisis Protocol, which isn't a board game, it's a tabletop game, but that's very popular because it's a very simple game to play, and the models are lovely and the range is huge. It is very cost prohibitive because it is very, very expensive. But the game itself is fantastic, and the models look beautiful on the tabletop, so that's a good one. Obviously, Night Models used to have their tabletop game for Marvel and Spider-Man and things like that, but that poor decisions were made, and that's gone by the wayside now. I can't think of any others. It's a difficult. Obviously, Marvel's quite a hot property that I don't think Disney want to try and sell it to too many people. They want to kind of keep it in one place. But I imagine it's like Milton Berle or somebody comes along and goes, yeah, we want to give you money for a Marvel game. I'm sure they'll take it.
Yeah. So Shane, have you seen this Marvel Crisis Protocol?
I haven't, no.
I am just trying to pull up a picture as we speak. Hold on.
Well, whilst you're looking for that, Shane, quick question for you. I'm going to take over the show. Your con that you run, is it specifically for comic books, or is it comic books and?
Well, it is generally comic books. We do have exhibitors who sell other stuff, so games, statues, figures, comic related stuff. Quite happy because people, there's a massive crossover and people are interested. So we have a lot of people selling, licensed stuff and artwork, original artwork, all that sort of thing. Pretty much anything that, as long as there's a comics, angle, what they're selling.
So do you have other artists as well? So things like trading card artists, for example.
We have had, if there's a comics link. So we've had, artists who've worked for, say, Disney or something like that, who've worked on Marvel related stuff, because there's a genuine interest there from comics fans. So we're always happy to bring in artists from other mediums if there's a comics angle. So if the property is originated from a comic, say. So, I mean, Marvel and DC are the most obvious ones, but, it could be a Walking Dead game or something like that. So, we've had guests from those areas, and sometimes they've proven the most popular guests. We had the guy who did Simon's Cat. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
So Simon came along and was a guest at one of our shows. And obviously it's not a comic, but he was promoting a book that he put out, but obviously he was an animator. But we thought it was an interesting guest to include, and he was incredibly popular. Queues of people who wanted to talk to him, So we're quite happy to do the crossovers. But we are a comics convention. It is built around the medium of comics because there's so many cons out there that do multimedia. And movies and films and all that sort of stuff already. That's really well served by MCM, London Film and Comic Con, all that sort of stuff. So we're here basically to serve the comics fans.
Also, I quite like the way at Ice Comic Con there isn't masses and masses of Funko Pops.
No,
bloody hate them.
We try and keep the Funkos to a minimum. We don't stop them. It's just that at the end of the day, the people who come to Ice, they're not there to buy Funkos. So if you've got more than one Funko store, they're going to struggle, So it's not. Yeah. Whereas if you've got a good variety of stalls, and artists and writers, and it's more likely that everybody does well. So if you've got one person that's selling, board games, for example, they're going to do really well because they're the only one there. Or if you've got one person selling branded T-shirts in the past, said that without moving my lips.
I did. Yeah, if there's just one person there selling board games,
it's him up there. You want to keep focusing on. It's him that's talking. It's not me. It's him. I know we look kind of similar. But...
I know. I was just trying to weave in some subliminal marketing there. So if there's just one person selling board games.
Or branded T-shirts.
Or branded T-shirts.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Or top trumps.
Hey!
Apocalyptic top trumps.
You forgot to focus in on yourself when you said that.
I forgot, yeah. Also, we've got top trumps. We've only got our own masks as well.
Oh, wow.
Talk about super branded.
You guys have got it sorted.
We've even got our own Master Blaster. Have you ever seen Mad Max 3? Master Blaster's whistle.
Whoa.
Look at that.
And that's attention to detail, that is.
That is just crazy. Who says we don't rock? So, how many sort of guests do you normally run it at Ice Comic Con? So, how many sort of celebs? Because it's quite hard, isn't it? When I've been to quite a few of yours, and it's been rammed full of celebs.
Yeah, we have a few. I mean, the one show we did, I think the most guests we ever had at a show, I think, was 60.
Holy hell!
Yeah, and they were all pretty big names, all big artists and writers, and that was huge, and that was really, it was herding cats.
I bet. Yeah. How you got them all there for what time? What time did you have to sort of get them there in the morning? About 8:30 or 8?
No, they didn't all turn up at 8:30. There's always a few jock that don't turn up till the afternoon. John Cassidy. But it's because they spent all night drinking with us. Usually,
they're probably just roaming in at about 8 in the morning, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean that's fine. As long as they're there for their event and they're there for their sign-ins, I'm happy. It's when they don't turn up for something they're supposed to be there for. That's when I'm not very happy, especially when they've come from all the other side of the world, to meet fans, and then they just spend the weekend in bed. That's not good. But that doesn't happen actually very often, maybe once. But most of the guys, actually the American guys, are very businesslike for the most part and treat it in a very serious way. They're very professional. The Brits, it's more of a social occasion.
That's what I was going to say.
Friends. Yeah, but that's cool, because that makes it fun. And they're great with the fans. I have to say, almost 99% of the guests that we've had at ICE have been absolutely amazing with the fans.
Yeah,
and I'm sure the fans will repeat that.
Do you ever do like an evening event?
Yes, we do. We were the first con, actually, I think, in the UK to do like a launch party before the show. It was when I was running Bix with James Hodgkins and Andy Baker. We decided, wouldn't it be a good idea to do a proper launch party? We had bands. We had 3 bands actually. We hired out a huge bar. All the guests were there, and the fans who booked tickets in advance were allowed to come for free to that launch party.
Yeah,
it was packed, absolutely packed. It was a who's who of comic creators. Everyone in the industry was there. It's a really cool memory, actually. That first one, because it was a new idea. Of course, everybody does launch parties now. It's just part and parcel of doing a convention, But I think that was the first one on that scale, anyway.
So when is ICE back? So is ICE back next year?
ICE will be back next year, as many you've seen probably on Facebook. That we couldn't do it this year. It's just not viable, which is a real shame. Very sad about that, because I was really looking forward to doing it. But yes, next year we will be back, same time. The new venue that we still haven't had a chance to use.
Yeah,
which is the Edgbaston Cricket Ground, which is an amazing venue.
Awesome place.
Cannot wait to get that show on the road, and that will definitely be happening next September. So I'm very excited about that.
And we would love to come along and bring our post-apocalyptic buggies and all the rest of it, which is amazing.
Yeah, and the great thing about the venue is there is space outside for vehicles. You can bring the vehicles, and there's lots of room for cosplayers to have their
huge place, isn't it? It's bigger than your old venue.
Yeah,
I think
it's one of the biggest venues I've used for an indoor venue, I would say, actually. Yeah, we've used some big venues, but nothing quite on that scale, I don't think. Yeah.
Oh my God. So, Shane, is there a question you'd like to ask Andy, the authority on all things board gaming?
Actually, there was it's a very obscure question.
Here we go.
Obscure fandom and all that. Has there ever been a Crow board game?
I can't say as I've ever known one, but it wouldn't surprise if there hasn't been. I'd be amazed, because like I say, they turn anything into a board game. But then saying that, when the Crow was kind of at its peak of being very popular, there wasn't that culture of everything getting turned into board games. So it's quite possible that they never did.
Well, that's why I asked. It would only be done sort of retrospectively, I would have thought.
Yeah. I'm surprised somebody hasn't jumped onto the license, to be honest, because it is still popular. It is one of those things that a lot of people do still like all that kind of stuff behind it, and there is quite a mythology behind it as well, obviously, between the films and the comic books and stuff. So I'm surprised somebody hasn't already jumped on that. Hint to anyone watching.
I mean,
might be in the market for that kind of thing. Maybe there's a license going out there somewhere.
Wow.
Well, there you go. There's an idea for you.
You've sold one already. There you go. There's one sale.
I'll have one as well. I've got a good claim to fame on that. So a board game that is also 2000 AD related, because I am a massive 2000 AD fan. I've got Blockmania was a game. Was a game. And what it is two towers fighting, and I got Carlos to sign one and John Wagner to sign the other. And they were awesome. They were like, "This is awesome." And then John was going, "Do we get any copyright money for this?"
Any
royalties, because obviously them being the creators, I think this was the first time they actually saw it, and they were like,
Oh, the dreaded work for hire, eh? I mean, these days, I mean, this is why indie comics are where it's at, you know.
Yeah,
because when someone creates something now, they benefit from
you
everything
own
that
it.
they do.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you guys will find that with your stuff. You know, you brand your stuff so well. You know, the V2A is brilliant. But this is all your merch. You know, you benefit from this. Yeah, you know, it's not going into Disney's pocket. It's not going into. Well, you know, it's yours. Your creativity.
We haven't got a fan club. We've got a cult.
Oh,
you know.
Well,
so
it would have to be a cult.
It would have to be a cult.
Yeah.
I always wanted to have a cult. So you know, when you meet somebody from school and they go, "Oh, what are you doing nowadays?" I'm a cult leader.
Yeah. That's great. When the teacher asks you at school, you know, so what do you want to do, Kevin, when you grow up? I want to be a cult leader.
and now I am. How cool is that?
They're probably thinking, "Oh my God, what's going to happen with him?" Oh,
that's probably why I don't get invited to school reunions at all.
Yeah, that cult leader guy. Yeah.
They Google me. They go, "No, let's not invite him. Let's not invite him." So Andy, what else is coming in this week then, sir, or over the weekend? What are we excited by?
What else is there coming out? I think that's about it, actually. I think we've pretty much covered it. Obviously, Magic release this weekend is the big thing that's coming out. Strixhaven, everyone's going to go mad for that, the Magic players. And Bellicor has been quite well kind of waited for, but it's not been out there very long that people have
What is Bellicor?
Bellicor, giant winged demon. He's a great big demon. He's a really cool model from way back when. And they basically just reimagined it. They've kind of gone, here's Bellicor, but 4 times the size. So he's this huge model. And he looks phenomenal. Oh, there we go. Is there an upper deck world?
Hey! Look at this. We've got the best audience known to them.
I thought someone from the chat might chirp in.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Ricky.
So so there's that. So Magic the Gathering as well.
Yeah,
I've seen the
Magic's
cards.
the big thing this weekend. Yeah.
Is it still popular? Because it's been going for years.
Yeah, it's more popular than ever, I think. Obviously, Magic's been a great one over lockdown because people can get onto the Magic the Gathering online game.
Online
which
thing.
I can't remember the name of for the life of me. I'm sure Tracy will chirp up in a minute and say it's called such and such. But yeah, a lot of people have been using that, so they can still get their games in. But most of them have just been sat around waiting for the next release. And they're always very popular anyway. But yeah, this time has been really popular just for the fact that I think it's people just like that normality of being able to go out and buy something from a shop rather than having to just sit there and play with virtual cards.
Didn't they do a Magic the Gathering with Mothra and Godzilla and all that lot?
That's the range that sleeve came from, yes.
Ooh, yeah. Look at me knowing stuff.
Yeah, Ikoria. Even I know that one. Yeah, Ikoria released, which I think was not the last one, but the one before last, and they did all of the kaiju. They did King Ghidorah, Godzilla, Mothra, Baby Godzilla, Rodan. Yeah, they did a whole range of them for that, and like all the time. So we got all the mats and all the sleeves and all that kind of stuff, which was, to be honest, was really cool. Even though it's a bit of a cash in, they're even now doing a 40k and a Lord of the Rings. I think it's a Commander series, whatever that is. I don't know, but yeah. So they're it's Magic, it's Wizards of the Coast. They'll just tie anything into it. So yeah,
I have a couple of friends who are. Well, first of all, big shout out to all the guys over in New South Wales in Australia because they are going to be starting to film the new Mad Max film. They're very soon. Furiosa.
Wow.
Very excited.
Cool.
But a few of my friends who are stunt guys in Australia, maybe on the film, can't really say. They collect. One of them collects Magic the Gathering, and some of the costs of some of the cards. Holy hell!
Yeah, there is a massive market for like not necessarily what I'd call second-hand cards, because a lot of these cards people are pulling them out of their the packs, the booster packs, and they're straight to the one that they know. There's always one in there that's going to be a rare or something that's a bit special, whether it's a foil or whatever. And yeah, some of them they'll just go straight out of the pack and straight into a sleeve and straight onto eBay at £90 or £150. And yeah, they go for silly amounts of money, £400 or £500. Yeah.
There's some crazy ones. So back to Shane. So Shane, how big is your comic collection?
It's quite large actually.
Is that one for the ladies?
I've got how many have I got? 32 long boxes.
Oh my god!
That's just the American stuff. So that's about, what is that? It's about 9,500 comics. So it's not a big collection really, compared to other people I know who've got 30 or 40,000. You know?
So another question on that. So do you go for the whole CGC? If you've seen that, Andy's when they put them in like the plastic cases and you get them like valued they're like
they're graded.
They're graded,
Yeah.
aren't they?
They're graded by a company who say they know what they're doing, and then they're put into plastic so that you believe that they know what they're doing.
And you can never read it.
It's not for me. I understand why people do it. That's fine. It's just not for me because I already know the grade of my comics. I've been collecting for 40 years. So if I can't grade a comic myself now, will I ever be able to? So I grade my own comics, so I don't need to put them into plastic. I like to read them, so that's my preference.
So here's a good question for both of you. So first of all, so Andy, what is your favorite board game in your collection?
I'm going to go for The Thing, Outpost 32, Infection Outpost 32, just because it's a phenomenally good game and everyone in the store loves it. And it's one of those games that every time you say anyone want to play that, you'll be inundated with people that want to play it because it's phenomenally good. It's nigh on impossible to get in this country, short of getting on eBay. If you get lucky, you might get it for about 80 quid, which is about the base price for it anyway. But yeah, if you do ever see it, get it. You will thank me later. Just thank me. Just go, yeah, I'll get it. I'll get a group of friends round. We'll all just get really paranoid about who the actual thing is around the table. We'll shout abuse at each other. We'll set fire to each other with flamethrowers. And then we'll damn mankind when we send the actual infected person back on the helicopter.
Well, great. That's a great concept for a game.
Sounds like a normal Wednesday night, really.
It's so much fun. It really is. So good.
Oh my god! So back over to you then, Shane. So in your massive collection of comics, which is your prize comic?
You should have asked me this last time I was on because I had them all out. They're all back in the boxes now.
Yeah, but it's more fun putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
They're back in the boxes. They can't hear you if they're back in the boxes. It's fine.
Yeah, they're not going to be offended. Yeah,
you can talk about the other ones. Yeah.
It's a hard one that because obviously there's two ways of looking at it. It's like treasured as in most valuable. Well, that's a bit boring, isn't it? Yeah. I think that there's a lot of comics that I love. I really love, like I've got the original sort of Batman Year One from Batman, the series that Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. That is awesome. The Daredevil Born Again series in Daredevil Volume 1. Again, Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli. They hold a special place in my heart, those two series. They really do. And I've got very nice copies of all of them. And it's just great storytelling. Frank Miller was at his best. David Mazzucchelli was at a really interesting point in his development. I mean, he's doing something completely different now. You look at his more recent stuff, it's worlds apart, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think they are probably my most treasured comics. They're not worth a lot of money. Yeah. The whole lot of them, maybe 50 quid, but they are definitely, I would never swap them or sell them or anything.
So what would be your most leafed comic? Which is the one you've read through the most? One that you always go back to and go have another look at that.
Well, that's
Penthouse.
Yeah. Eros comics.
No, I meant one that you can actually open, one that you can actually get the pages apart.
Oh yes. It'd be like,
I do actually own some Eros comics. Wally Wood and some of the great artists did do some great erotic comics actually. Okay. But my most read comics, I don't reread a lot of stuff, but I mean, other than Daredevil and Batman, which I reread a lot, I did reread a lot of Spider-Man when I was younger. The early stuff. Now, this isn't the original stuff; it's reprints because I can't afford the original stuff. But the Steve Ditko and Stan Lee, Spider-Man. I must have read those stories, that run, from the start to the finish, a dozen, maybe 20 times in various reprints and reformattings. Never the originals, I'm sad to say. The first time I ever read those stories was in a little Spider-Man pocketbook that my cousin gave to me, and it was the first 6 issues of Amazing Spider-Man plus Amazing Fantasy 15, all reprinted in a little tiny,
they were called pocketbooks, weren't they?
Yeah,
yeah, I've got those.
Yeah, they're great, and then and I was in hospital, I think, after having an operation, and my cousin said, "You can borrow this while you recuperate." I never give it him back.
Sucker, loser.
I was only 11. Forgive me, Ian. But yeah, I never. He said. I think years and years later, he goes, I used to have that Spider-Man pocketbook. I don't know what happened to it. It's like I never.
Yeah, that one worth a load of money.
Well, it ain't now. I read it a lot of times. It's pretty tatty, But he very kindly lent it me, and I never gave it. It's my guilty confession. I confess now. I know it's not a proper confession because you can see my face, but I confess that is my sin of my life, is that I never gave my cousin back his Spider-Man pocket. I'm very sorry, very, very sorry.
Very sorry. Pete says Captain Britain. That's probably issue number 1. That was good. They were good. Yeah. They were good. They've shot up in price as well, so they were really good. I think the one I've read the most is Stray Toasters.
Oh, that's great. Bill
Sienkiewicz. Awesome.
Got those. Really good stuff.
Have you ever read it, Andy? It's like
nothing for me. I've never heard of it.
It's like a graphic novel. How do you explain it, Shane? It's out there, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is a pretty wacky. I got there was a prestige format. I think there were 3 books. The last time I read it was when it came out. So do you know what? I can remember it being wacky. I can remember it being really good to read, and I love the art. But I can't for the life of me remember what it's about.
There's been many points in there. Many drinks since then.
Yeah,
so,
but
I have to bring it down for you, Andy. It is actually really, really good.
It is good.
So, any other tips then, Andy? Back over to the painting and stuff. So I've got a quick question. So here it is, Shane. This is X-Men. Well, this is Marvel Crisis Protocol. Awesome figures.
They are.
They're really good.
But they're bloody expensive.
Yes, they are. Yeah. It's the price point that really brings them down. I think they're about £40 for 2. Thanos on his own is 65 quid just for Thanos. Okay, it's a big model, but it's so expensive.
And the game does look good though, because you can you can pick up bunkers, cars and trash cans and throw them at each other. And because how many characters have they released? Because
lots and lots. I think you get like 4 a month or something. Well, up until lockdown, we were getting like 4 a month. I know a few of them are really hard to come by. Things like Star-Lord came out, and it pretty much only released in the States because it's an American company, Atomic Mass Games. They tend to do very much like all American companies, where they'll sell out in the US and then go, well, there's none left for the rest of the world now, so tough. And they tend not to kind of do reruns of stuff. So we've not seen any restocks of any of the models since they came out. So it's literally been a case of as they come in, they sell, and they're gone again. So it tends to be quite kind of pot luck. Some of them are very, very sought after because they never hit English shores, so we never actually got to see some of them. And then other ones are just very popular and have come and gone, and no sign of them coming back out, which is unfortunate.
That is a shame.
Yeah, it does look. They do look. Let me just put this up. They do look really. Look at that.
Yeah,
and the cool bit is there's so many characters you can literally make up your own sort of super team, Shane. So you could always go. I've always wanted, I don't know, Doc Ock and and Zemo and whoever else.
That's actually an image of the starter set. That's everything that comes in the starter box, which is about £95, I think. So you look at that and go, actually, including the Daily Bugle. You get a Daily Bugle, 2 cars.
Oh, that's good, actually.
The lampposts and 8 characters. So it's actually quite a good deal on that one, which is why it's quite a shame that everything else came out so expensive.
I have to say that the Daily Bugle offices have gone down in the world, haven't they?
It's like a chip shop, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got like a demountable now, old Jameson. I mean, he used to have a city block, didn't he? That's the decline of newspapers, that is, isn't it?
Maybe it's just far away. in Father Ted lingo. How come there's not a Father Ted game? I'd buy that.
I think it's a drinking game. I think that's a whole different thing.
Oh, right, yeah. Would you like another cup of tea, Father? That's just...
Drink.
Drink.
Oh, what's this? So, Ricky, AVP, The Hunt Begins, or Blood Bowl? I'm not sure what we're talking.
I don't know, Ricky. I don't know if you're asking which one's better, because AVP is absolute garbage. So no competition there, mate.
So was the movie. Eh?
Oh, it was. Talking of that, here's a good question for Shane. So, Shane, I believe Marvel have now taken on Aliens and Predator. Have you heard?
Yeah, they've obviously, with the acquisition of Fox with Disney, Marvel are now taking on all the old Fox properties.
What do you think? What do you reckon about the new comics coming up? Are they going to be any good?
I think it's a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. I know that's a very non-committal answer, but there's different artists and writers involved, so it all depends on the artists and writers. And some of it looks okay, but I don't think they're going to top. I mean, they could, but I don't think they're going to top what Dark Horse did with those properties.
Dark Horse was amazing, wasn't it?
They did great. They created a universe, and I have some great memories of those Dark Horse titles. And they did a fantastic job with Predator, especially. I loved how Dark Horse did it. They got some great artists and writers involved. I'm not 100% certain Marvel have got what it takes to really do those properties justice, but I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think they're going to make a TV series. Yeah, sorry, I'm just reading all the comments. So first of all, Dungeon Bolt, the best.
Let's not.
Let's not let Alien Queen is now a Disney princess. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
very good. Very good.
I don't. They're going to make a TV show out of it, but I don't know. You never quite know with Disney because
I'll see what happens. Because Disney produced some good TV now. I'm really enjoying Falcon and Winter Soldier.
We were talking about that before.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Then Shane.
For the most part, I'm really enjoying it. I think John Walker's story is really compelling. I think the downfall of John Walker, and he's not a villain. He's a flawed human being. And that's what it's about. He's not Steve Rogers, and he's been trying to live up to being Steve. And in an attempt to do that, his downfall it's tragic. I feel for him, and I feel for Sam Wilson. In his journey. At the end of the last episode, I'm just thinking, please let him be Cap. I think.
Spoilers. Anybody, if you haven't watched
I'm trying not to give anything away.
Have you seen it, Andy?
I haven't yet. No, I'm waiting for the last episode to air so I can just binge the whole thing in one go.
Just a quick one without trying to spoil anything. So John Walker, who you will see when you watch it, is played by the amazing Wyatt Russell, who's Kurt Russell's son. Yes. Awesome guy. I thought
great actor.
Him and Zemo stole the show for me, and I would rather have watched these two do it well. Zemo in a nightclub for 9 hours. This will make sense when you watch it.
Yeah, great.
Just take that visual memory, and John Walker is just ace. And I thought his acting and stuff. I thought he's such a great character.
Really good. Yeah,
really good.
He had some great moments, didn't he? I don't want to give it away.
No,
can't give it away.
Super gritty. I'm more excited to now watch what he's up to than the characters I'm supposed to be watching, I think.
Yeah, he's a very compelling story. Although I found Bucky's story quite compelling, but the problem was he moved away from it too much. A lot of the time, Bucky was just window dressing, or he was just in the fight, and as we discussed before, there's too much time mending a boat. They need to edit out the boat maintenance.
So Andy, you will learn how to fix a 100-year-old fishing boat. In detail. It's like Discovery Channel, isn't it? It's how to take a 1.5 hour story and extend it to 6 hours, I think.
Add it to 6 hours, yeah.
It's just a little bit too much of that. The action sequences, though, you cannot fault the action sequences and the fights. It is all good stuff. I think I enjoyed a bit tightening up. That's all.
I think I enjoyed WandaVision more because in WandaVision it looked awesome. I hadn't a clue where the hell it was going.
Yeah,
from week to week, and I was
Yeah.
super excited. Whereas on this Falcon Winter Soldier, it comes around on a Friday, and half the time I forget to watch it, and I'll catch up. But it's not like it's not one of those I've got to watch this. You know, it's like
you sort of know what's going to happen, don't you?
You know,
you pretty much know how the story's going to play out for the most. I mean, so far anyway, there haven't really been any surprises. So don't worry. You know,
I am looking forward to Loki. Hopefully, Loki's going to be a bit more wildly out there, and also the What If, because that was a comic. I remember reading that as a kid. The What Ifs, like what happens if a spider had been bitten by a man, and stuff like that. Man spider.
There's some great ideas on What If, wasn't there? Like what if the Punisher's parents hadn't died? What if Elektra hadn't died? I mean, that's one of my favorite What Ifs. What if Elektra hadn't died? Because that really was a lovely companion piece to the Miller, run. But I mean, that looks nice. The art style on the animation for What If
does look great. It looks amazing.
Really interesting, like quite a different approach, quite unique. So I'm interested in that.
So a quick question to either of you guys. Have you seen, as Pete says, have you seen the new Legend of the Ten Rings? The new have you seen the promo? The trailer?
Yeah.
It looks all right, actually.
Interesting. They're taking a little bit from the old Hong Kong style, aren't they?
Yeah, the old Enter the Dragon films kind of thing.
I love all those old, I love all the old, like the Drunken Master movies and all that. I think if they go in that direction, a lot of people are going to be very happy, and it seems like there's a little bit of irreverence to it, which needs to be there. They need to have that approach. It needs to be a bit fun. They don't want to take it too seriously, because martial arts movies, when they're too serious, I know they lose my interest. I like a bit of fun in there, a bit of comedy. So it looks like there could be a bit of that going on. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more.
I must admit, I am a back to my Marvel days, being a Marvel fan. I am a massive Iron Fist fan. Me too. Yeah. And then I was so disappointed when the TV show came out. It was this.
Don't get me started on that.
It was this blonde guy who didn't know any martial arts. No. So he's supposed to be like the uber most badass, and this guy just. He's
getting beaten up by cops and stuff.
He was awful.
Getting beaten up by street thugs. It's Iron Fist.
Just
the greatest martial artist in the Marvel universe.
Just pick
getting beaten up by street thugs. Oh,
but whoever cast him for that, surely, question number one: have you done martial arts before?
Yeah. No. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. We'll get
got blonde curly hair.
We'll fix it in post. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry. If you can wave your arms around and kick a little bit, it's all going to look good, isn't it?
No.
Crazy. Whereas, like Keanu Reeves, when he does his martial arts, because he's actually takes it really serious, and he's like jiu-jitsu. He does jiu-jitsu. I'm not sure what belt he is, but even his kicks are amazing. So he's
great. He's great. Even in like the cheaper movies that he's done, where he's done martial arts, he's always really good at those scenes, isn't he? You got to credit him. Even as he's getting older, he still moves really well, and his kicks and his punches, they look like they've got power.
He doesn't act any better, but he does move well.
Well, I love the John Wick stories. The John Wick films are just awesome. How they keep up in the death count. You watch it and it's like 200 people die, and then number 3 comes out. You think, what the hell? How can you? But I've heard rumors this week that he's coming out in a Star Wars film.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I heard that he may be signed on for the Old Republic, Star Wars Old Republic, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we will remember. That could work. Yeah.
Could work, yeah. That's all I've just a voice I heard.
He'd make a good Sith, actually. I think Keanu Reeves he doesn't do it very often, but he can do bad guy.
I think he'd do a good. Yeah, he's got a beard. He looks evil.
He's got to that age now where he looks a bit mean, but he's still got the physicality. Oh yeah, he'd be a good Sith. Sith, not Sith. That's
Sith
a different character altogether.
So a quick question over to Andy. So Andy, if you're new to board gaming and games like that, what would you recommend for a starter now that we're allowed back out the house?
I'm always going to go with Battle Sheep. Battle Sheep is it's an amazing game. Battle Sheep. We have it in stock in the store.
Hold on, I'm gonna have to zoom in because I think you're bullshitting here.
No,
Battle Sheep.
I just worry if I have my copy to hand. I haven't. I've got 2 copies here somewhere knocking around. Yeah, it's a great game. You look at it and you think this is clearly a game for small children. Is the most
Battle Sheep.
Battle Sheep. It is the most intense game you will ever play. It really is. Everyone kind of goes into going, yeah, what's this rubbish going to be? It looks silly. It's little cartoon sheep on little cardboard tiles. Oh, this is going to be silly. And then within 5 minutes, everyone's got their hands and their faces and their elbows on the table as they're plotting and scheming. And yeah, it is so intense. But it's so much fun. It's such a silly game. But yeah, it's so easy as well. That's the thing with it. It's such a simple game to play that it takes about 10 minutes. So you can play multiple games over and over again, and everyone loves it. So yeah, that's my number one.
I must admit, for me, have you ever played? Either of you played Zombie Dice?
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
That's a really good game, actually. Because when we're on the tour bus or whatever, it's actually really good. Can you explain it, Andy, to Shane what
essentially? Zombie Dice. It's a cup with I think 13 dice in it, and there are brains, feet, and shotgun blasts on the sides. And the idea is actually first to get to 13 brains. So you roll as many dice as you like, 3 dice at a time, and you go as long as you want without getting shot 3 times. Otherwise, you lose what you've just eaten. What brains you, and you just keep going around the table. And yeah, there's yellow, green, and red dice. Red have only got like 1 brain on it, but 3 shots and 2 feet. And then the green dice has got 3 brains, 1 shot and 2 feet. And it's basically a game of chance with dice. It's a bit like Liar's Dice. But yeah, it's a great game. It's really fun and simple. You can have a dozen people playing it, and it's really good. Again, we have a copy in stock in the store if anyone wants one. It's on the website, so go and check that out. It is a really good. Another one you might want to look at is if you can find a copy these days is Chupacabra Dice, which is a very similar thing where you trying to roll chupacabras to eat other people's chickens, goats, or bulls. And it's the last man standing, essentially. So 1 chupacabra can eat 2 chickens or a goat, and it takes 2 chupacabra to eat a bull, 2 goats, or 4 chickens.
What a game. What a game.
And and you just go around each other's farms eating all your livestock. Simple as that. It's a bit silly and a bit fun.
Honestly, amazing. So I think we are nearly at the end of the show. It has been a pleasure as always. So we will be back next week. Shane, when are you back on your Ice Comic Con so we can all jump on? Well, first of all, you're going to come in our Geek Show Facebook group. Please.
Yes, I will join. Definitely. That'll be fun. And we will have a new episode of the Icecast live next week. I can't remember who the guest is. I think it's no, I'm not sure, so I'm not going to say because I could be wrong. But we do have some interesting guests coming up, and we'll start again next week. And at the weekend, as I say, we have the audio show with Kelly Jones, amazing Batman artist and Deadman artist. Yeah, you've got to tune in for that one. I think that's going to be well. I know because I've already recorded it, and it is a really
it's good.
Yes, it is excellent. It's really good, and I'm not me. Him, yeah. He does most of the talking. He's one of those great guests where I could just ask a question and then he'll just talk for 20 minutes because he's got so much interesting stuff to talk about.
I think that the most talkative one we've ever had on our show, we've interviewed most of the Mad Max artists and everybody but PJ Holden, the artist who did our comic, the Doomsday, but. Oh my God, you can't get a word in edgeways. You start him off like, how did you get into comics? 4.5 hours later, when he's told you his whole life story, you know.
I love guests like that. They're so easy. They're great guests like that because you just wind them up and let them go.
You imagine him down the pub.
It's always a good test for guests, talk to them at the pub. If you have a good time at the pub, chances are they'll be good on a podcast
Definitely.
As well.
I think we should do that. We should do a drunken geek show one of the weekends.
that could just cost us all a lot of money.
Yeah, just see where that goes.
Say a lot of stupid stuff we regret the next day.
Exactly.
I do that every day. I don't need drink for that.
Yeah. We'll probably all end up engaged to each other or something daft like that.
With tattoos, matching tattoos.
Yeah.
So Andy, words of wisdom from the shop then. What should people come in and buy?
Everything. Come in and buy everything. That's my recommendation. I do have a couple of things I want to quickly shout out. On Netflix, for everyone who has Netflix, there's a phenomenal movie on there that I love called The Final Girls. Really good fun. If you're a fan of the old slasher movies, it's amazing. It's a proper kind of love letter to slasher movies, but with a really cool twist in it. Check it out. It's really, really good film. My other thing I want to quickly say is, Laura, if you're still watching, get off the toilet. You've been there now for an hour and 25 minutes. Get up.
You don't get this on the BBC, do you? You don't get these public notice boards.
Public safety announcement. Her legs will have gone to sleep and she'll try to get up in a moment and she'll fall over. So, Laura, stretch your legs and get off the toilet.
That is a good question. What is the subject we're chatting about? Who knows? Who knows? Welcome to the Geek Show.
Whatever comes into the conversation, Joey. At the moment, we're talking about somebody being on the toilet. So, as you can guess, it's a quality show.
Laura Smith, knee Willits, get off the toilet.
Look at that. And this will be shared all over Facebook, YouTube. You know, my
watch
God.
all the good bits, Joey. Go back and watch the rest of the show. It actually was worth watching.
Definitely. Well, thank you for everybody for joining. It's been an awesome evening. Always enjoy speaking to you, Shane and Andy.
Likewise.
Amazing. Andy, do we have a special guest on next week?
All being well, hopefully next week we're trying to get Stuart from Great Escape Games to come and have a chat with us about Dead Man's Hand and all the other fun things that he does on Great Escape Games. So hopefully you might have an announcement for us as well. Who knows what?
Oh my gosh! Also, a bit of a...
He might not turn up, and he won't say anything at all. So I don't.
Also, we've got book 1 is coming out very soon, so it's at the printers. So very excited. Doomsday. The second part is coming out just before Christmas, called Lord of the Locust. And then book 3, there might be a game with it as well. There might be a board game with book 3. Look at that then, Shane. Look at us with our marketing and all that
Very
kind of
good.
stuff.
Excellent stuff. Can't wait to read it.
It is really exciting, actually. We've got a lot of celebrities from the Mad Max universe actually got their own characters in our comic book. And also, we've got the amazing Jason Kingsley, only the owner of Rebellion of 2000 AD, is not in their comic. He's in our comic. Oh, yes. Hey. So he's super excited about that. So, and also any guy whose hobby is jousting and dressing as a knight, you know, the guy is awesome. He's a legend.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. So we will see you all next week. Shane, we'd love to have you back on in a few weeks' time to talk more comics, if that's good by you, sir.
I would love that, mate. Anytime, mate.
Look us out. Join the Facebook group, and then you can also tell everybody when your amazing ice podcasts are on. I thoroughly enjoy it. I try and jump on every time you're on.
Always good to see you there, mate.
Random questions and stuff like that. But seriously, it's amazing. You have some amazing creators, and it's a great fun, and it's really informative. Unlike this show, where it's just truly bonkers and mad. and Andy, I'm going to kick your ass next week with elf painting. So
bring it
on.
Bring it.
So yes. So yes, that's all I can say. It's a shame you've not seen my painting, which is not good. So I'm good at writing music and just a bit shit at painting. But that's a technical term. That's a Midlands term. Yeah,
we all have our limits.
We have our limits, don't we? So
it's interesting. It's interesting painting. That's what it is.
It's interesting. That's what I get from Andy. Interesting.
Yeah.
So so awesome, guys. Thank you very much for everybody joining. It is Wednesday evening, so we are halfway through the week, which is also good. So nearly the weekend. Also on Friday, big good luck to Crew 2, the SpaceX rocket ship, which is going up. So I'm all excited about that with Elon Musk and all that lot. Good luck to those guys.
Beachway by any chance? Has it got Beachway down the side of the rocket?
It will do.
I'm amazed.
We're working on it. We're working on it. They're gonna have a little sticker on the side. It's we're like Hydra. We sort of get everywhere, you know. It's like Hell Hydra. So like it's like with the V2A.
They've got V2A mugs on the spacecraft.
We're going to work it out. We'll work our devious cult somewhere. So awesome, guys. Have a wonderful week. Thank you so much, Shane, and thank you, Andy. And we will see you all soon on the Geek Show. Cheers, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Good night, John boy.